Diamond has a date with Doom. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Dr. Doom resin bust statue. Victor von Doom overcame his difficult childhood to become one of the world's most brilliant scientists. Though at every turn he saw his achievements outdone by a man called Reed Richards, the egotistical and maniacal Dr. Doom uses his brilliant scientific mind to augment his own power in quest for control. Doom's signature suit of metal armor protects him from attack, but also grants him the ability to fight heroes himself via both force fields as well as concussive energy blasts. Doom's suit is made for war. This resin bust of Dr. Doom is based on his appearance in Marvel Comics, is limited to only 3,000 pieces, and includes a numbered certificate of authenticity. And before we actually deal with Doom, I'd like to first thank the folks over at DST, that's Diamond Select Toys, by the way, who did provide this sample of the resin bust of Dr. Doom that we could have a look at in this review. Let's get things started and underway by measuring how tall the statue stands. Keeping in mind, again, it's Doom from only the top torso. The statue is 6 1/4 inches in height, or it's about 15.5 centimeters tall. Out from the box, the statue comes included with a certificate of authenticity. This is always crucial to hold on to, first of all, because it'll tell you the number sequence out of the very limited quantity. In this case, indicates that 748 out of the limited run 3,000. Not only is it good to hold on to for your own collection space, but if years down the road you decide to part ways with a statue, collectors will always want the certificate of authenticity to include with the statues so they know it's 100% legit. This indicates, by the way, it's Dr. Doom, a resin bust designed by Nelson X. Asensio and sculpted by Juan Pitluck. As you can see right there. It's only single-sided. I mean, that's all that you really would need just to indicate that, once again, it's a limited run of 3,000. This is 748. At that very same number, by the way, is on the underside of the base. I'm very carefully lifting up the statue's base to show you that it is matching and same. 748 out of the 3,000 copies. And it does also have rubberized feet on somewhat the corners. I know circles don't have corners, but somewhat the corners. You've got some rubberized feet, not only to prevent the scratching on the surfaces that you put the statue on, but it also prevents this number from wearing away as you're sliding the statue around. As for Dr. Doom, one thing the statue has working well for it is a really good sculpt and equally good paint applications. Something I've certainly mentioned in the past, you could have a really good sculpted statue, but if the paint under-delivers, then all the work they put in the statue sculpt in the first place almost gets a little lost. And I have to say the paint really does sell the sculpt nicely. I mean, look at just the face alone. Look at all the detailing done just to the individual face platelets. All those platelets would have been molded and welded together, and you really get that vibe when you're looking at Doom's face. The detailing that they've done also to the faceplate, I like that they've added a bit of a darker dry brushing of paint. You can see that they've added some nice black paint in there as well. So it's not the most polished looking faceplate either. If I could offer up one little bit of criticism though, I do like the eyes, but I think the detailing around the eyes, they feel like they almost should have gone in there with some slightly darker paint. Being the eyes, I'm going to just slightly tilt it to the side that are a little bit more recessed from the faceplate surface. I feel like you would want to cast a little bit of a shadow onto Doom's eyes. Not to the point where you would want to mask the eyes because the eyes are too good to cover in paint. But I think if anything, they probably could have added a slightly darker wash around the eyes to really give it more that recessed look. Speaking of recessed look, one thing I hope you guys can actually see here is the scarring of Victor Von Doom's face, or at least what you can see of it. At the very top, just above his faceplate, you can see the very vicious scarring that he has to his skin there. I really like the fact that they would have put that in there, because easily they could have just had the hood a little bit lower down and hid that all together. As for certainly as well the hood, I really like the depth that they put, first of all, his head sculpt. I'm going to just turn it to the side, so hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. The head's a little bit slightly further back, and they've actually put a really nice darker coloring of the green on the inside here. It's a little bit further back, but it's a slightly darker shade than what we get on the outside green. The green choice, by the way, also, the coloring that they decided to go with for the green is a really nice color for Dr. Doom. Usually when I think of Dr. Doom, I tend to think of more of a darker, almost forest green, but I do actually like the coloring of green that they went with here. Why I like it, though, and you can probably already see a little bit of it here on the side, is being that they went with a lighter coloring of green, not one I'm used to seeing for Doom. it actually allows them the opportunity to add a much darker green to it, and you really get that contrasting of the lighter colors on the top, where the light would, of course, be hitting it, and the more darker shadowed areas where the light isn't hitting it as much. This green of balancing the two colors together, in fact, it almost seems as if there's 3 colors of green that they've happened to do here. A lighter green even still, just on the edges of the cape, for example. See a little bit of more of that lighter green right here. And again, you got that in the more pocketed sections of the cape was where you get that little bit of darker airbrushing of the green. It really has some really nice contrasting colors. The light and the dark really work quite well at Dr. Doom. Of course, when we spin this around, you're going to get a lot of good detailing done to Dr. Doom's torso, of course, his arms as well. One thing you may also notice quite obviously here is the fact that Dr. Doom's hands are encased in flames. I do really like the fact that they've added in here. Now, they likely have probably taken the flames and they added as a separate piece. I can't imagine that they would have used the whole translucent resin, because that would probably be a little bit more brittle. They probably have used the more denser, more matte resin, and then they would, of course, painted it for Dr. Doom, and then they would have just added the flames and extra appliance. I do like the way that they've actually used a translucent color, and there's some nice light uses of color of like lighter, like almost like a lemon yellow, and you kind of got the warmer colors of the orange and the red in there. It really does well to kind of really give it that look of flames. I do also like the way that they've also added the little snaps there on the front that, of course, would attach the cape to Doom's torso. They have brushed on a really nice darker kind of gold coloring, and then they've also dry brushed on there some additional darker, almost brown in there as well. It really, one thing that really I have to say about Dr. Doom here is he's got some really nice lighter and darker colors. Really like the way that they've actually painted this guy. Some of the best I've certainly seen when it comes to these resin busts. Normally, we would have already started the review talking a little bit about the display stand, but I was so quick to kind of jump right to Dr. Doom that kind of completely overlooked like the display stand, which is really just as intricately sculpted and just as well painted as the rest of the Dr. Doom bust above it. I really like the way that they've actually given a more mechanical look to it. This would be something that I would almost expect the Doom bots to have. I really do like little extra pipes and little wires and stuff that are all around this. And they've also painted it really nicely, going with more of a gunmetal gray, and then adding and dry brushing of the darker gray on top of that. And then they've also added, and hopefully you guys can actually see it as well, a nice little use of additional purple in there as well. It just helps to break that up so it's not just all gray on top of gray on top of gray. And of course, as we've not probably already talked about, his arms really nicely done and handled with a more shinier silver paint. Again, it still gives the opportunity for them to go in there and just paint in some additional darker colors. So again, you've got that nice coloring of both the darker gray making up his glove and the chainmail, and hopefully you guys can see it there. And then, of course, you got the silver plates over top of that. It's a really nice Dr. Doom. I like the look of this one quite a bit. Ironically enough, well, not so ironically enough, taking this guy out of his styrofoam prison, there was a lot of additional styrofoam that they actually packed in with the statue. In fact, there was styrofoam in between his arms. There was styrofoam actually even in between his cape and his torso that I really had actually a tough time trying to remove out without, of course, running the risk of breaking this. This is resin, so you really want to be really careful. But I got to say, to the credit of Diamond Select, not only does the statue look really, really good at Dr. Doom, but they really cared for it when it came to packing this guy. There was styrofoam and the little packing pillows and stuff all in all the little nooks and crannies for Dr. Doom to ensure that when they ship it out of their factory, he's going to just be as good of condition as when he actually gets to like a specialty store or comic book store, or eventually if you do order this guy online and he gets shipped to your house. It's going to take a little bit more time, of course, taking and removing all those pillows from inside the little nooks, the crannies, and the armpits of Dr. Doom. But when you finally get them all removed, you've got yourself one of the better looking Dr. Doom statues I've seen. Granted, it misses his lower half. Well, he doesn't have his lower half, but at least the half that we get, the top torso, is a stellar looking Doom. One of which that's going to look great on a display shelf. Definitely one of the better looking Dr. Dooms we've had a look at here in this channel. You know, ironically enough, we just recently had a look at a Dr. Doom bust, in fact. That was the zombie Dr. Doom. If you did want to go back and have a look at that, I just posted about a week or so ago. That was also a great looking Dr. Doom from a slightly different comic line. So if you like if you're the purist and you like the more OG look for Dr. Doom, this checks off the boxes a little bit better than zombie Dr. Doom. I know there's statue collectors out there that may sway away from collecting statue busts because you're really only getting in top half. They like their characters from head to toe. You're in this case only getting the head to the skirting just below Dr. Doom's belt. But what you're getting at least of Dr. Doom, what you get of him, is a well-sculpted, equally well-painted statue. If anything, the only thing I would have said was they should have maybe added a slightly darker shade maybe shadowed area around his eyes to really give the better vibe that the faceplate is further in front of his face. But other than that, I really like the way they've handled Dr. Doom here. And nice touches too, by adding the flame effects on the ends of his fingers like that they probably added as an extra appliance, because I don't suspect that they probably molded the whole thing in a clear or transparent resin, because that probably would be a little bit more brittle. They probably added the flames afterwards, but it really adds a nice effect to Dr. Doom. It gives him some purpose, too, outside of wanting to conquer the world, after all. Again, a big thank you, though, to the folks over at Dahmm Select that did provide this sample of the OG Dr. Doom that we could have a look at in this review. And again, if you guys did want to check out my review of the zombie Dr. Doom, I just recently posted it. You should be able to find it quite easy here on this channel. But the key to making sure that you're not missing out on anything that gets posted to this channel on a regular basis is, first of all, hitting the subscribe button down below. Second of all, turning on the bell notification. And then third of all, of course, the biggest one, probably coming back on a regular basis. Even if you did miss out some of the reviews I've posted as of late, the best advice I would certainly recommend to anybody that's new to this channel is go to the homepage, and you'll be able to see right away anything I may have posted and anything you may have missed. There's definitely going to be a lot more Dahmm Select stats reviews coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.